kidding me? Toppin! Thunderous dunk!
That's the high-level athlete Obi Toppin is.
And he is unstoppable right now. How do you stop that?
Mike Schmitz of ESPN. We're here with Obi Toppin, National Player of the Year, one of the most productive players in the country, potential top 5 pick. Dayton, one of the most exciting teams in college basketball this year. Obi, thanks for taking the time, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
We're going to get into your film here, but as you look forward, what do you think are some of the things that you can bring to an NBA team?
I feel like with my athleticism, that helps a lot. I run the floor really well. When I was at Dayton, they kind of told me if I wasn't getting a rebound, be the first one down the floor. So as soon as the ball comes off the backboard and I know my teammate has it, I'm gone. I'm the first one. I'm like a jet going down the court. So I feel like that helps. I feel like I can spread the floor a little bit. I can shoot a little bit, pick and pop situations, being able to put the ball on the floor a little bit. I feel like I didn't show it a lot in Dayton just because of the position that I was being played at and what they needed me to do. I was just on the court doing what they needed me to do, and it helped me a lot. As you can see, like where I am now. Yeah,
your athleticism, your ability to run the floor, your ability to space the floor. I think that's really what teams see in you. Is there anyone you watch in the NBA and say, maybe I could play that type of role?
I feel like I've been watching a lot of Anthony Davis.
Yep.
I feel like now that I'm like working out, preparing for the next level, I'm working out, putting the ball on the floor a lot more. I feel like I'm looking at Anthony Davis and I'm like, I can be that type of player. He's definitely a role threat, and pick and rolls. He can pick and pop. He can ISO by himself. He can put the ball on the floor. I feel like watching him, it kind of resembles my game now. And so, before it was more like Amari Stoudemire, Kevin Garnett, players like that. People were telling me I play like. So I was looking at them, but then I kind of looked at myself. I seen the full picture, putting the ball on the floor, being able to shoot, back to the basket, like different things like that Anthony Davis does. I feel like I can do.
Yeah, that's a great guy to strive toward, right? I mean, especially on the defensive end, somebody who cleans everything up and is a beast there. And so I think that's a great guy to study. And so we have some NBA players here in this edit for you to look at also. And we're going to go through, different areas of your game, some areas where you've been really, really strong. And then mirror that with some NBA clips, and then also ask you maybe some things you had done differently on a couple different plays just to get your feedback. So you mentioned it earlier, your ability to run the floor. I think that's one of your main value adds right away in the NBA, especially if you land in a situation where you're playing alongside other all-stars. Maybe your way to add value initially is running the floor, attacking the glass, being really, really active off the ball. And I think you've proven that, at a pretty high level. And you can see here against Davidson, you mentioned it. They told you if you're not going to get the defensive rebound, just bust out, right? And you can see your speed here. I mean, your ability to change ends at your size is really, really impressive. What's the key to being such an effective rim runner?
I just feel like you're the fastest person on the floor getting down the court, and your teammates having trust in you, they're going to throw that pass. And in that case, like he threw it before I was in front, and I ended up being in front. And so yeah.
So one guy, and we talked about some names, one guy I think you have some similarities to is John Collins from the Atlanta Hawks. He's 21-10. He's shooting 40% from three now. He's still only 22 years old. Have you watched much of him at all?
I haven't watched much of him, but I've heard that I played a little bit like him, yes.
Yeah, and I think that's a good guy to look at also, in addition to some of the names we already talked about. And you can see here, he's one of the best rim runners in the entire NBA, and it's not always busting ahead, right? Sometimes you're lagging a little bit, and then here you can see he just kind of picks up steam, gives Trae Young a target, and then just beats Gallinari, everybody down the floor, right? So another guy with kind of your size and length and agility. And so it's not always to finish, though. I love this play, okay? Take me through kind of what you're seeing here as you bust out.
So basically, I know that my guards are going to get to the corners, and there's going to be one big at the top of the key. So if I don't have anything in the paint, I know that I'm looking at either on the wings or the corners for an open shooter, and I trust my teammates to make that shot. So
no, that's great. And again, you can just see your effort, right? Beating everyone down the floor here, and then you're going to locate the ball with your eyes, present a target, and just an easy kick.
And I feel like with the amount of attention that I had in the paint, me running the floor to the basket is going to open the outsides up a little bit more for the shooters, and if I can find them, it's going to go in. So.
And so, yeah, sometimes it doesn't even end in an assist or anything like that for you. But if you're putting pressure on the rim as a rim runner, that forces them to get back and opens things up. And so I think you're going to be really good in those situations. And one guy I like to watch in these grab and go situations is Pascal Siakam. Have you watched much of him?
Yes, I watch him. He's a really good player.
And what stands out about this as you go through it here?
I feel like with his length and his ability to put the ball on the floor, having the threat to be able to pass and score is really dangerous. And him getting to the basket, that's a great Euro step. So.
Yep, and I think that's something you can have as well, as you continue to get more reps, pushing the open court, creating for yourself, creating for others. He's another good guy to look at. And then I think the last piece in transition, which we'll see from you, is being able to hit these trail threes, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, were you ever a shooter in high school, or is this new?
When I was like a freshman through junior year, I was shooting the ball a lot more.
Yeah.
And when I started dunking, I feel like I wanted to dunk everything.
Yeah.
So I started taking the ball in a lot more. But I'm starting to get more into shooting, getting distance away from the three a little bit more. So everything's going good.
Yeah, I think that part of your game is going to translate immediately. We've seen NBA range, like you said, over 50% your freshman year, 39 this last year, and you can see here just being a threat in these trail situations. I mean, that's a deep ball right there, right?
Right, yes. It's a great shot.
Yeah, and just being able to step into that with confidence, I think is huge. Right. So, all right, we've seen you kind of running the floor. I think you're a guy who can space it also, as a trail guy. And then in the half court, you mentioned your athleticism. I call it a vertical spacer, right? Being a guy who's a lob threat. Your ability to not only elevate but get out of these screens quickly. And you can see kind of that weak side tag there, right? Like they don't want to get put on a poster.
Right.
So I think even in the NBA, you're going to be a threat in those situations. And I love this also. You remember this play?
This is a great play. This is an out of bounds play.
And that's why I love watching you guys play is the ball is always moving. People are moving. And I think that's why teams will feel really comfortable with you having a big role right away is because you really know how to play.
Right, yes, sir.
And so you've been groomed to be successful from day one. And I think you got that as a lob catcher and then playing out of these pocket passes. This is your freshman year, right? What do you remember about this?
It was a play to get the ball in the pocket. We knew we can exploit their defense in the pocket, and with our guys being in the positions that they were in, it allowed me to be open on that role and allowed me to finish with my athletic ability. So.
Yep, and you can do it as a lob catcher. You can do it out of the pocket pass, and a lot of that is having that rhythm with the point guard, and you guys had really good chemistry. So I think that can be you, right, at the next level, too, is if you're playing that small 5 spot or if you're playing, more of a 4 spot, which I think you have the ability to do at a high level with your shooting, your ability to tackle closeout, I think you'll be really good. And then I think the last piece in ball screens is adding this little float game, which you've shown flashes, right?
Yes. That's a great pass and a great float.
And you can see here against Virginia Tech, similar situation, right?
Pocket pass, back forward.
Yep.
That was my first bucket of that day, too, so I needed that one to start up.
And you have the dunks, you have the ability to put guys on posters, but I think having that finesse, too, is going to be huge, right?
Right. I feel like I have great touch around the rim with how much I have my back to the basket in post-up situations. Like, I feel like I worked on that a lot through college, and I feel like that's a big part of my game. So
yeah, 100%. And you shot almost 70% inside the arc. I mean, we really haven't seen that from a lot of guys. So all right, so we've seen it as a roller, we've seen it as a rim runner. Then I think initially, being just active off the ball, right? This is your freshman year. What do you remember about this?
Yeah, I seen number 0 on Auburn. He turned his head for a quick second, and by the time he turned his head, I knew right away I just needed to go back door. My coach always told me, if you're at the top of the key and someone turns their head, always go back door. You're going to be open. And Josh, being the player that he is, great passer.
Yeah, it's a great read. And again, we'll get into the fun stuff later, right? The shooting threes, the handling, but initially that might be Draymond or Clay or one of these all-stars in the post, and then you got to find a way to add value, right? So we've seen as a cutter, we've seen as a rim runner, a diver. I think your ability to space to the corner, is huge, and that allows you to play, the 4 spot, allows you to play even maybe some big 3 at times. How comfortable are you in these situations?
I'm very comfortable. I just know every time I see a player driving to the basket, I don't want to clog the paint up. So I know moving out to the three, he was either going to pass it or he was going to finish it. And I feel like I think I just hit one before, but I stepped out of bounds, so he passed it to me again, and I made it again. I didn't want to clog the paint there, so I was spacing out. It was either going to be to the short corner or to the three, and I knew Jalen was going to make the read, and he did, and it was a good point for us. So.
Yeah, and that's why you're a perfect fit in the modern game. You know, you can be an athlete, but you can also have the skill as well. Just to show you, like Kuzma spacing out to the corner here, you know, like you said earlier, AD is a guy who's stepping out, shooting more threes too. So that's really the way the game has progressed. And so you're a guy who can dive, you can rim run, you can space to the corners. And then I think where you're going to be really good is in these pick and pop situations. How comfortable are you here?
I'm definitely very comfortable now in pick and pops. That like you guys seen it more this year than last year. I feel like with me getting more comfortable playing and the coaches having more trust in me, having the ball around the wing and stuff like that, I feel like it helped me become better in that aspect of the game. And so I do it a lot more now than I did my freshman year. And I feel like it's just going to get better and better. So
yeah, it's rare to have a guy who can put pressure on the rim as a roller, a lob catcher, but then can also space you to three. And that's why I think you're unique, is because you can do both. So I think that's why you're going to provide great spacing. And again, like I said, John Collins, a guy who's developed into a really smooth three-point shooter. Smooth, right?
Yeah, that's a good shot for sure.
And then if they try to run you off, you can put it down.
Stepped out of bounds. Look how if you were winding, my foot almost touched the bench back there.
Did they call it? They didn't call it though, right?
No, they didn't call out. But when I stepped out, it was all the way out. I ended up shooting the free throws, but this would have been a bad play if it went in.
But look at this. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
That's super high. I didn't know I was that high.
Yeah, so I mean, just because you can play make from out there, you can shoot it from out there, and then you can get downhill as a driver and potentially put guys on posters, that makes you really, really versatile. And just your mentality to try to do that too, I like. There's a toughness about you. One last situation I think you're going to be in a lot too is kind of these short rolls, and you're a great passer in those situations too. What do you see here?
Ooh, I forgot about that one. That was a good pass. I knew either Ryan was going to stay in the corner, and I was looking for the skip pass. And as soon as I see him coming under the basket, you don't want two bigs on the same side. So I came up top, he came down low. And Ryan's seen 25 on their team look the other way. So he goes, just like our coach always tells us, if your guy's not looking at you, go back door, you're going to be open. And that's what Ryan did. And
a little no look, right? Just to keep 25 guessing.
Yeah, get a little fancy.
Yep, got to let him know. But no, I think that's great. And one guy who, he's playing more of a 4-5, but I think he's one of the best passing bigs in the league is Bam Adebayo.
He's a great player. Great
player. And he guards everybody, 1 through 5, doesn't matter. And so I love his game, especially in these short roll situations.
Yes, for sure.
It's simple, right? But what do you like about this?
That's a great pass. He knew that either the man was going to be open in the corner, but he knew that his guy shifted over, and that man was going to help.
Yep.
You got to help the helper, and that left him open, and he trusts his teammates to hit the shot, and so he made that pass. It's a great pass, though.
Great pass. And I always say the 4, the 5, whoever's rolling to that short roll, you're almost a second point guard because you got to make the next decision, right?
You got to make the next read, yeah.
And that's where I think your game comes in, is because you have such a high basketball IQ. And I think the last piece of the puzzle is just beating these switches, right? So, the NBA has changed a little bit. Yeah, you're going to like this one. But the NBA has changed a little bit, right, to where you're not playing as much out of the post, but, because you're a pop threat, I think teams might switch some guards onto you. So I think this was one of the most impressive just with the finish. And I think this is a read, right? Because you see that help coming?
Yes, sir.
So take me through this.
So I could have either passed it to Ibi or Trey cutting. But I kind of knew once I had him on my back spinning baseline and I didn't see anybody on that side of the basket, I knew I was going to dunk it. But if I wanted to be really unselfish, I could have passed it to Ibi or Trey. So
no, I take that dunk all day. And the quick spin.
Trey would have slammed something too if I had passed it to him. So.
No, just to show your quickness, your athleticism, and then not the exact same situation, but Blake Griffin really good with these spins.
Yeah, he's really good.
Looks familiar, right?
Yeah, I'll remember this game. That game.
Yeah, looks a little bit familiar. And then Amari too. We're in these situations too, where you could just face somebody up, rip, and then explode, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so I think you have that in your game too, and that's over 7'5" wingspan of Nene. So
yeah, that's it.
You mentioned it, but your passing is high level. Right hand, left hand. What's your read here?
I just know this game they were helping a lot. And when I was in the post, I see that Trey's man is sitting directly under the basket.
Yep.
And 23 had to make a read. Either you was going to guard Trey, who was in the corner, or you was going to guard a really great shooter, high percentage shooter, Jalen. So he made the read and guarded Jalen more than Trey. And as soon as I seen Trey slide up a little bit, he got into my vision. I passed it right to him, and I trusted him to make that shot.
Yep, and that's just well-timed. It's accurate, right on the money, right into that shot pocket, and he steps into it easy. So, I think you can do it in single coverage, and you can do it against doubles, which we'll get into. But just to show you, Blake, he can hit that deep corner too. Look at that.
It's a great pass.
And from different angles too, a little bounce pass through traffic.
Yep.
A little bit low, but just to show.
It's hard. It's hard making passes like that from the other side, bounce passes. That's a great pass. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, one of the better big man passers, and then this I love. Okay, just to show. First of all, your offense, you guys. Okay, so it's humming side to side. You go right into a ball screen, then a post up.
That's it to Rodney.
Yep, and just you feeling these double teams. I thought all year was really, really good. What are you looking at here?
I just know they were doing this the whole game. This is still the first half, but they were doing it to me a lot. And I knew as soon as I got the ball in the post, I was looking either for the top side help or the bottom side help. Mm-hmm. And when I didn't see it at first, but I kind of felt him coming from the bottom side. And as soon as I felt him on my body, I kind of dribbled out and spun and threw it to Rodney. And I knew Rodney was coming middle because middle was wide open, so I relocated to the corner. He hit Ryan for a pass, and Ryan gave me another pass for a shot. So. And
that's beautiful. Like, this is how every team wants to play. Every NBA team wants to play with people movement, ball movement, side to side. It's never sticking. Right. And then your ability to use that kind of escape dribble to get out of there, make the on-the-money one-handed pass, space to the corner, knock that down. Like, that's picture perfect. It's not a dunk, it's not a step back, but that's great basketball, man. And so, that's why I think you fit. And then the last part of the offense here, you touched on it earlier, but I think you've shown glimpses of being able to create a little bit yourself, too. I think in this situation, too, another pick and pop, like if they're going to run you off, just showing the footwork, to be able to step into that, I think is huge. This is the play I want to talk about. So you remember this. Everybody saw this. Take me through this, and at what point do you know, like, I'm just going to turn around? Like, when did you decide that?
I didn't. I did not know I was going to turn around at all. Like, swear I didn't. I just had the ball, and I was going to rip at first, and I hear people screaming me, he's not like that, he's not like that. Udoka back there, he was like, he's not like that. So as soon as I released the ball, as a basketball player, when you're going to make a shot.
Yep.
So as soon as I shot the ball, I knew it was going in. And my body just kind of did it itself. It just turned around, and I was like, thank God it went in. I think in the interviews after the game, I kind of said I was just rushing back on defense. I didn't know if it was going to go in or not. So.
Smart move. But, hey, man, if someone's in your ear, and you got to let them know sometimes. And,
yes,
if you look right there as the ball's going in, letting our guy Udoka, hey, I am like that. And so, while not every coach is going to love that if you miss it, I think it showed your personality, it showed your confidence, and it showed that you're a competitor, And so I think, like I said, as you continue to gain the trust of your coaching staff, and maybe you will be able to be a guy who can create some offense for yourself, your teammates as well. All right, so defensively, in these situations, is this just a straight switch? What are you guys hoping to accomplish here?
Okay, so he was coming up for an angle screen, and so I was yelling push.
Yep.
So Jalen knows to push toward the baseline. I didn't know if Jalen was going to switch or not, but at the last second, it was a switch. And from there, it was like late for me, and he just got around me, and it was like a late reaction to block the shot. So.
And
great finish, though.
I think a lot of guarding ball screens, whether it's in a drop or a switch or an ice, is just understanding, giving yourself enough space, right? And you can see here, as opposed to that clip, which I know it's a different coverage, late switch, all that, but you have the reach to be able to be back here and then still get a hand, right?
Right, yes, sir.
So you guys are trying to weak this?
So basically, I'm corralling it. So we call it corral. So if it's a late screen coming, we'll just get to the side that the ball is coming to. And I was there, but he ended up rejecting it and getting hit with the screen. So I had to come back around and guard, and we switched that. So it was a great play by St. Mary's, but I think that the way that we play, we adjusted it right. So
no, that's great. I mean, you're in position to, if he comes off right, to be able to keep that in front, and then he rejects, and you react, and then you can just see your length there, your reach. You know, you're a guy who can give these guards a little bit of space, and then still, you know, get a really good contest on a great shooter. I thought this is one of your best pick and roll defensive plays that I saw, just because, look, okay, you're in position to, if he does push it, you can keep it in front, and then he uses it, and then now what do you do?
So basically, when he came around, I kind of had to stop the ball a little bit, while knowing that Tyler Bay is getting behind my head, and he's great athlete. So they're trying to look for him for lobs just like they look for me. So when he came off, I knew that as soon as he threw the ball, he was going right to Tyler. So I kind of had to disturb that ball before it got to him, and that's what I did. I just put my long arms up and stopped it. So.
And that's a great play because it's all about this cat and mouse game, right? If you're not switching, it's about being able to put that guard in an uncomfortable position, make a decision he doesn't want, and that's just, it's a little thing. I know you didn't get like a full piece of it, but I think that's great defense, man. And that's what you see from guys like AD, even Siakam here. Watch this, kind of similar, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's almost the same exact play. Him coming off, he knows he has to stop the ball from going all the way in. And he has a man that's rolling to the basket, and he has to get there too. So. Yep,
exactly. Yeah, and I think that's what you're going to look like at the next level, just with your defensive IQ. One thing I think teams might try to do is just pop you to space and attack you, right? What happens here?
I just feel like I was a little heavy on my feet when I was guarding him. I knew he was a really good shooter, and I wanted him to kind of drive a little bit. And he kind of got the higher foot on me and bumped me a little bit to finish. So it was a great move by him. I could have played a lot more better defense though.
And this is what you say you've been working on, right? Is being as fluid as you can in your hips, being as active as you can, sitting down, sliding. And
I kind of opened up and allowed that path for him to get through. So
it allowed him to get an angle, get into your body a little bit. For sure, but we saw the progress from you, over the course of the year. I thought, you had some great moments. And if you do get beat sometimes, you got the ability to erase that, right?
Yes, sir. I should have still forced him left, but I feel like sometimes when I allowed some players to get past me because I knew I was going to block it off of the backboard. But sometimes it ended up working bad for me, so I didn't do it as much. But like this game, I kind of allowed him to go middle. And I knew that I was going to block it, so.
And you can see your ability to change directions there, though. Like, that's a pretty fluid movement right there. Being able to chase and then, get that out with the left. So I think you have the ability to keep guys in front, gap them, contest them, and then if you do get beat, okay, you can be a guy, who go makes the play at the rim.
Right. Yes.
So in the post, some great moments, some not so great moments. What do you remember about this one?
I just know he's not all the way on the post and near where he finishes. I know if I have him a little away from the basket, he's gonna have to shoot like the little jump hooks or one of those, which I don't think he was really. I think we wanted to force those the little long jump hooks. So I kind of just kept him away from the basket as much as I can with the physicality, and he went to his left hand and missed, and we grabbed the rebound and went. So.
And this is great defense. I mean, look where, you're making him catch as opposed to the last clip. I know it's a different situation. You did a good job fighting through that screen and then just taking the hit and then walling up, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's really, really good. So I think, you can be that in those situations, and then also your quickness getting off the floor. Give me that.
Yeah, so plays like this, when I know a player picks up his dribble away from the basket and he does a shrug, I know he's going to float it.
Yep.
And so I kind of wait until he goes up. I'll back up a little bit. You see I back up to allow me to have space to jump. And once they go up, I jump and block it. So
yeah, it's just a veteran play, right? You know he's a heavy left-handed player too, right?
Right, yes, sir.
And he wants to get to that right shoulder, and look where he catches too.
Yes,
he's not going to catch 2 feet in the paint.
Off the block.
Yeah, exactly, way off the block. So as we kind of wind down here, like I said, your verticality at times I thought was like picture perfect. What are you trying to accomplish here?
So basically, I know like every time I'm going vertical or every time I'm going to block a shot near the basket, I always want to keep my hands behind my ears. The coaches enforce that a lot, and we have drills where we just do verticality drills. So I knew in this position, like I just needed to jump with my hands straight up. With the amount of length that I have, my athletic ability that I have, I'm going to get higher than he is, and he's going to have to shoot a high rainbow shot to get it over my arm. So I just literally jump as high as I can with my hands straight up in the air into his body, let him hit me, and just see where it goes from there. So
that's perfect. Like if you're showing a young big, verticality technique, I think that's what it should look like right there. And again, okay, late game, there are still some times they caught you, right?
Yeah, like I should have helped all the way, and then I should have met him at the block right there.
Yep.
I should have met him all the way there and took a charge, or even went vertical when he got into the paint. But I kind of just stood with my man, was worried about my man too much, and didn't even come over. So.
And if you come over earlier, then that lets your opposite wing know he's got to sink inside, and then you guys are in unison, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's really, really good, man. And then even being able to use your length to fan out in these type of situations.
Yeah, he kind of put one of these in my face, and so I just kind of had to reach my arm out to block it, but it was a good play.
Yeah, it's a great play for a speed demon, a guy who's really, really quick end to end. We've seen you on both sides, right? We've seen you be the guy who comes and surprises people and is just playing with energy, flying around, and then also be a guy, hey, we're going to dump it into you, let you play out of the post, shoot a bunch of threes. So I think you could argue you're the most ready player, in this entire draft. And I think that, you're a great example for kids coming up who aren't a McDonald's All-American or maybe don't have a ton of offers at the end of their high school career, and you can make something of yourself, and you're a living example of that. And so I think the future is very bright, and enjoy the process and really appreciate your time.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.